Hey y'all, it's Natalie, and I have a special guest in the craft room with me today. This is...
Hello, Heath.
That's my son Heath. He's been asking to scrapbook with me, so we are going to do that tonight. What are you going to scrapbook today, Heath?
I'm going to scrapbook this picture of me and my friends.
Yeah. Where were you?
We were at our school fall festival.
Yes, so we are going to start with a sketch because that's a really good place to start when you are new to the game. And he has scrapbooked in the past a little bit, but not kind of the same way that I do, so he wanted to learn how to do that. So we're going to start with a sketch and a cut file, and it's going to be a lot of fun, right, babe?
Yeah.
All right, let's get to it.
I'm as tall as you.
He's almost as tall as me.
Hi. All right. So we're using a Laura Whitaker sketch that you can see over here on the top right. Instead of the star, we are going to use a very simple video game controller that we found on online and cut out with the Cricut.
Looks so cool.
This is Heath. He's going to do the voiceover with me. So that's his hands you can see right there. So we're going to try to figure out where everything's going to go before we get started doing our mixed media. Heath, do you remember the name of the collection we're using?
I think it was Cool Boy.
And it is by Pebbles. So he die cut a few stars out of a few different colors of paper in the Cool Boy collection.
Yeah, a few.
He made sure to get the word cool dude in the middle of that star there. So we're just kind of figuring out the placement. But then we'll move everything off to do some mixed media. So we're going to use these Heidi Swap stamps to create the title that you can see over there in the bottom left. Do you remember what the title says?
Oh, I paused my game to be here.
They did. They had to pause their games to go to the fall festival. So we wrote it out, kind of how it's going to go on this tag. And then he's using Distress Oxide for the inside. And then he's going to use that pigment ink by Burgess Monroe for a little outline. Can you tell me like a stamping tip that you learned when you were doing this, Heath?
It was so that you gotta don't push down too hard, or else it won't show up because the white one is like kind of a watery ink. So if you push down too hard, it's just gonna like splurt out and then come back in, and you won't really get a good picture.
Yeah, it'll also kind of distort the stamp a little bit if you put too much pressure on it and kind of smoosh it and make it not look right. So did a really good job. It was a lot of words to stamp, but we just made that tag with some cardstock in our stash that matches the lime green bits. So there he goes with the pigment ink where he's putting the outline with the white. Looks really good.
It looks so cool.
So he's just kind of taking it one letter at a time, and then if there's a duplicate letter on the tag, he'll go and fill that in.
Yeah, and I'm like doing it in the navy and then the white over like outline.
So now we're trying to pick which stencil he would like to use for the mixed media. So he ends up going with this geometric stencil. So we're going to move all of the pieces off of the page. But we're going to leave the cut file on there for a sec because we're going to do a little outline of the cut file so we kind of know where to place our mixed media once we remove it from the page. So I just draw inside, making sure that the cut file will cover it up once we stick it down. So we've picked two colors of Distress Oxide. We have the Citron color and then the Evergreen Bough. We're practicing first. So this is another good tip. When you're doing something new, just practice before you do it onto your main layout, right? So What are you doing with this stencil? What are we doing to make sure it doesn't shift?
So you have to hold it down tight enough to where if you like changing colors or when you're brushing, that it doesn't move because it has to stay in the same spot if you want to do more than one color.
Exactly.
So you can blend it right.
What's also a really important thing every time we're done stenciling?
Oh, you have to
clean it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you have to clean the stencil.
Otherwise, you'll get the ink in a different spot on your page before you're ready for it to be on your page. So here he is. How do you move the brush?
You move it in more of like a circle instead of like up and down or something. And then you do the other color if you want to, and then
they blend together really nicely to Distress Oxide.
It looks so cool.
It does. How do you make sure that they kind of overlap nicely?
So you would do it kind of next to it, and then you would pat over where the two colors meet. And sometimes if it doesn't work that well with just patting, you would like rub a tiny bit.
Yeah, add a little bit more of one of the colors and then tap over a little bit more. Yeah, and that just is blending it. So now you can kind of see 3 different colors in that. So we're going to clean it off and we're going to add more. What did we do with our stenciling? Do you remember what this is called? What did we create?
I forgot the first word, but some kind of like art triangle or something.
A visual triangle.
Yeah, visual triangle.
Because that's appealing to the eye, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we created 3 bits of stenciling around the cut file because it is a visual triangle. Learning about our design principles while we're playing and having fun. We're also watching our friend Sarah Scraps do a live video on Facebook with Wild Whisper, and she was giving him a shout out while he was scrapbooking. It was fun. And there we are cleaning it again, and we're doing one more to finish off our triangle.
Yeah, because like it so it'll look better if you don't just do it like outside the lines. So like, you know how you're coloring and you like want to stay in the lines, or if you coloring you want to stay outside the lines. That's not the thing in here. You want to get some of it inside the lines, so it looks like the cut file is overlapping it.
Exactly. You want it to go under the cut file. And also, we don't want to take any of our stenciling to the edge of that stencil. We don't want a hard line. We want it to look nice and organic, which is this ending of the way we've ended the stenciling, so it doesn't have a hard line.
And
now what are we doing?
Splatters! I love doing splatters.
Oh, yes. So we are putting our ink down, adding a little water, and splattering. What's some tips about splattering that we learned?
So you need a little bit of water and you rub it on, and you don't have to hit it that hard. Just like you tap it like this, like kind of.
What are
like
you doing
that.
with your hand?
You have to rotate it so it won't
directions.
be in the same it won't be in the same position, so it'll make a line.
Perfect.
So it's just looks more.
And that lighter color, sometimes the lighter colors need more ink, so we added more of the citron color there. So yeah, it's on double time too. There, now we've slowed it down so you can just see the final product. I love it. Looks so good.
Yes, it looks so good. And then we add the other color.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now we're gonna commit to sticking down the cut file because we pretty much we know where it's gonna go. Oh no! What are we doing?
We're roughing up the edges.
Roughing up the edges, distressing them. So he was doing a little too easy. So I had to show him. Nope, we're gonna go in pretty hard, and it's a nice thick piece of cardstock, so it can handle it a little distressing. So that just gives it nice texture. You'll see in the close-up photos. Now we're going to stick everything down. Or not stick everything down. We're going to put everything down to make sure that's how we want it before we stick it down with our adhesive. So we definitely know where we want the cut file. So we'll stick that down. He got to use the tape gun.
Yeah. I might have put just a little too much.
No, that's okay. You don't want it to fall off. It's got to spend a long time in those scrapbook albums, so it'll be okay.
And now we're putting the things back where we think we want them to go, and then we'll tape them down.
We put a glitter hole reinforcer on the tag as well, just to add a little bit of interest to the page.
And pop.
A pop.
I like the colors of like the stars because they just look like so cool.
Yeah. So we're gonna start sticking down the photo here, and then what is something, I don't know if you remember when we were sticking down the title tag. Do you remember what I told you about where we're gonna stick it down?
I think it was like you kind of overlap with the picture.
Exactly. You want your elements to touch so it looks like it brings cohesion to the page. So it doesn't look like that the title is completely separate from the rest of the page. Do you see in the sketch, you can see the title overlaps the photo a little bit. So we did that. So it looks a little bit better when it's touching the photo, just the tiniest little bit, rather than being separate from the photo. Same things with the stars. The stars will touch and basically kiss some of the cut file or the tag or the photo or something. Keep everything kind of married to each other in the middle of the page there. So we're using our Nuvo adhesive and we're going to stick down all of those stars. He ran through the Big Shot with a few different star dies.
Oh yeah, I used you had to use 2 to make like the outline star on the left in the middle. Yeah, you put just the big one and the small one, and then I used some small ones and then like medium-sized ones, and I used like, I forgot what the other ones were.
Yep. And now he's just adding sequins to the page. That's how we're going to finish that off. I was showing him that the sequins have a flat side and a curved side. And so he was putting them on upside down. So the flat side is the side that I like to glue down because I feel like they're going to get more of a surface area touching the glue and be able to stay on the page longer with that Nuvo adhesive. So he's just using the end of that wax pencil to pick them up and set them down onto the glue. And that's going to be our finishing touch. Great job, Heath. Did you enjoy making this page?
Yes, it was very fun. And it looks really cool too.
It does look cool. I guess we'll have to do it again, won't we?
Yeah.
Say thanks for watching. Bye,
Thanks
y'all.
for watching. Bye-bye.